It all started on what should have been a chill Saturday night. You know the kind, ambient jazz humming softly, a heated blanket, the comforting clink of ice in a glass. I was just about to brush my teeth when the calm shattered. Bang, bang, bang. That wasn't a neighborly knock. That was an I run this neighborhood knock. And I already knew who it was. Madison, my next-door neighbor. HOA president. Self-appointed queen of West Maple Ridge. I opened the door with toothpaste still foaming in my mouth, rocking plaid pajama pants, and the expression of a man who just wanted peace. She stood there in a full sequined jumpsuit, iPhone in hand, battery in the red. "We need chargers," she said, smiling like this was a reasonable hour to beg for electricity. "My guests' phones are dying. The party can't survive without Instagram stories." I blinked. "It's almost midnight." She smirked. "Exactly." I told her, politely, considering I was wearing bunny slippers, that I wasn't comfortable lending my personal charger to strangers I didn't know, especially not for a party I wasn't invited to. Her eye twitched. "The HOA encourages resource sharing," she snapped. "Sure, Madison. And I'm sure the bylaws specifically mention USB-C courtesy clauses." I shut the door before she could escalate. But she did. At 4:07 a.m., yes, 4:07, I was jolted awake by the unholy symphony of a doorbell, frantic knocking, and a dog barking in the distance. I stumbled to the door, thinking someone had died. Nope, it was Madison, in pajamas and a raincoat, flanked by two incredibly tired-looking police officers. "That's him!" she shrieked, like she'd just uncovered a fugitive. The cop cleared his throat. "Sir, we received a report that you were hoarding emergency charging equipment." I blinked harder this time. Madison piped in, "My guests needed power. He maliciously refused, causing emotional and communicational distress." The officers looked at her, then back at me, then at the lonely charger sitting on my counter. "Are you a phone charging facility?" one asked. "Do I look like a Verizon store?" I asked, gesturing to my fuzzy socks. They sighed and left without filing a report. One mouthed, "Sorry," before stepping off the porch. Madison stayed behind, live streaming to 3 viewers, probably bots, about how I was destroying neighborhood unity. I locked the door, twice. The next morning, I woke up to a neon green HOA violation slip taped to my door. In bold Comic Sans font, it read, "Failure to provide mutual charging support per Harmony Clause 14.6. There's no such clause. I know because I've read the entire HOA manual after Madison once cited me for owning a wind chime that disturbed the emotional balance of the cul-de-sac. But Madison wasn't done. She set up a table on her lawn with a sign that said, "Free chargers for good neighbors." Guests were sipping flat white claws and pretending to understand the HOA Constitution as Madison posed for photos under a ring light. When I confronted her, she handed me a binder thicker than a law textbook and declared, "Charging neglect is a serious offense." "You made that up?" "It passed during an emergency HOA session last month." "You mean the one you held alone, with your cat as the voting quorum?" "Whiskers is a registered emotional support attendee," she said with a straight face. That evening, I received an email from the HOA. Well, technically Madison's cousin Leslie, the HOA secretary, inviting me to an emergency review to assess my failure to uphold electrical etiquette. I came prepared. Binder, tabs, slides, evidence. Madison strutted in like a corporate lawyer. Heels, blazer, Bluetooth earpiece that wasn't even turned on. This hearing, she declared, will determine if this resident is fit to remain under the Harmony Mandate. Is that the same mandate that requires residents to smile within 3 seconds of eye contact? I asked. Yes, and to provide blenders and fondue sets upon neighbor request? She nodded. Great, I brought receipts. I plugged in a flash drive. Slide 1. Her party invite. Caption: BYOC. Bring your own charger. Slide 2. Footage of her threatening to escalate this to community court. Madison lunged at the laptop, tripped over an extension cord, and sent a tray of kale smoothies flying across the room. One landed in Leslie's handbag. You violated HOA property, Madison shrieked. That's your purse, Leslie muttered, finally snapping, and I'm done being your puppet. She walked out, high-fived me on the way. A legend. The next day, 3 more violations showed up in my mailbox. 1. Emotional aggression via door closing. 2. Vandalizing the block's spiritual aura. 3. Refusing to participate in tech-sharing culture. I posted them on Nextdoor with the caption, "Is this what we've become? Charger fascism?" The post blew up. Turns out, I wasn't the only target. One neighbor had been cited for not clapping during Madison's karaoke night. Another got fined for putting out pumpkins outside the joy season. Madison wasn't enforcing order. She was weaponizing the HOA to control us. But no one had ever challenged her. Until now. A few days later, while walking my dog, I saw something strange. A trench of mulch leading from the park lamppost toward Madison's backyard. I kicked it lightly. An orange extension cord. Madison was stealing electricity from HOA property. I filmed it, took photos, created a timeline, charted energy usage. We called a real HOA meeting, without Madison's smoothie cronies. Brad, a retired firefighter and volunteer security officer, yanked the cord out of the ground like Excalibur. At the end of it, a surge protector hidden behind her hydrangeas, powering patio lights, a pool float swan, and a smoothie freezer. She ran out like a banshee. This is decorative. It's mood lighting. Mood lighting doesn't pull 8 amps an hour, I replied. We voted unanimously to suspend her HOA privileges. Madison stormed off screaming about anti-electric prejudice. But the chaos wasn't over. She sued me. Yes, took me to small claims court. $5,000 for emotional damage, loss of party momentum, and, my favorite, unauthorized smugness. She had screenshots of me smiling on my porch, claimed it was aggressive mirth. I countersued. Harassment, defamation, public nuisance. On court day, Madison showed up in a white pantsuit and glittery "Justice for Madison" pin. Leslie brought popcorn. The judge listened, reviewed evidence, raised one eyebrow at a slide labeled Neighborhood Vibe Collapse Arc. Ms. Dobbins, she said slowly, you ran an illegal extension cord from HOA property, falsely cited your neighbor, and used your cat to pass HOA amendments? He abstained, Madison muttered. That's democracy. The judge awarded me $2,000 and issued a cease and desist on her HOA weaponization. And just when we thought it was over, she came back with a new campaign, Signal Pollution Kills Vibes. She claimed my Wi-Fi router was disrupting her aromatherapy diffuser and interfering with her chakra alignment. She handed out tinfoil pamphlets, taped emergency blankets to her house, accused me of Wi-Fi poisoning. She even applied to run for HOA president. Flyers, buttons, slogans like "Power to the proper people." But then, Debbie happened. Debbie, her ex-best friend turned silent victim, showed up at Madison's campaign rally and nuked her on the spot. Receipts, fake votes using pet names, HOA smoothie funds spent on Bluetooth crystal speakers. She even tried to trademark a subscription-based charging service called Madison Coin. The crowd revolted. Madison tripped on her PowerPoint cable and fell into the lemon bar tray. The board disqualified her. The HOA news didn't pick it up. The local news did. Headline: The Wi-Fi Warlord of Willow Creek. Within 24 hours, she went viral. Memes, remixes, Etsy mugs. My favorite? A shirt with her screaming, "I am the vibe." But the final twist? We used the $2,000 court payout and the fines she racked up to build a public phone charging station. Guess where? Her front yard. Why? Because she accidentally registered it as mixed-use space under her LLC when she filed the lawsuit. Now, the entire neighborhood lounges on her grass, charging phones, drinking lemonade, listening to lo-fi music under string lights. She tried to yell, "Charger colonialism!" But Tricia just handed her a copy of the contract she signed. "You didn't lose your lawn," I said, plugging in my phone. "You donated it, spiritually." We now call it the Charge Yard. And every April 1st, we host the Vibe Festival there. Costumes, music, and a crystal-free zone. Madison. She watches from her window. Foil curtains, blinds drawn. She's not the vibe anymore. Now, it's your turn. Have you ever dealt with an HOA dictator like Madison? Or witnessed some absurd neighborhood drama? Drop your stories in the comments. I'm dying to know how crazy it gets where you live.